I don't even know where to begin. But I know this. If you ever hear a knock at your door at 3:33 a.m., don't answer it. I wish someone had told me that before last night, because now I don't think I'm alone anymore. I've never been the kind of person to believe in the paranormal. Ghost stories, urban legends. Yeah, they're fun, but they're just stories. At least, that's what I thought. It started around midnight. I was up late watching YouTube, lost in some rabbit hole about unsolved mysteries. You know the type. Missing people, strange radio signals, weird encounters. But for some reason, as I watched, I started getting uneasy, like I wasn't alone in my apartment. The feeling crept up slow, a chill in the air, a pressure in my chest, the kind of instinct that tells you something isn't right. I shook it off, told myself I was just sleep-deprived. But then, the knocking started at exactly 3:33 a.m. 3 knocks. Slow, heavy, deliberate. My heart jumped into my throat. Who the hell would be knocking at this hour? I live alone. No visitors, no neighbors I talk to. Nobody should be outside my door at this time of night. I sat frozen on my couch, staring at the door. Something about it felt off, like the sound didn't belong, like it wasn't just coming from outside, but from somewhere deeper. I grabbed my phone, checked the peephole. Nothing. The hallway was empty. I almost laughed at myself. I'm being stupid, I thought. It's just my mind playing tricks on me. But then, 3 more knocks. No, I wasn't imagining it. Someone was there. I should have ignored it. I should have gone back to bed. But instead, I whispered, "Hello." And the knocking stopped. Silence. Just my own shallow breathing filling the room. Then, from the other side of the door, a voice. Software wrong.
"Let me in."
My blood went cold. The voice wasn't normal. It was layered, like 2 voices speaking at once. One deep, one high. Both distorted, like a bad signal on an old radio. I backed away from the door, my hands shaking. Every instinct screamed at me. Don't open it. Don't even speak. Just walk away. But then, my phone vibrated. I glanced down. A notification. A text message from an unknown number. 4 words. "Why won't you open?" I dropped my phone. I don't know why. But I looked through the peephole again. Maybe to prove to myself that no one was really there. But this time, there was. A person. Tall. Too tall. Standing too close. Their face stretched. Warped. Their eyes were just black voids. And their mouth. That mouth. It was smiling. But not like a normal smile. Too wide. Too many teeth. Like someone had taken a human face and stretched it into something unnatural. And then it waved at me. Slow. Mocking. It knew I was watching. I stumbled backward, heart racing. I had to call someone, anyone. But when I grabbed my phone again, the message was gone, like it had never existed. I was panicking now. I ran to my bedroom, slammed the door shut and locked it. My mind was screaming, what the hell was that? Who was that? Then, 3 more knocks. My bedroom door. The knocking was on my bedroom door, inside my apartment. I covered my mouth to keep from screaming. I hadn't heard the front door open. No windows were broken, but it was inside. And then, it spoke again. But this time, the voice came from right behind me. I don't remember what happened next. I must have blacked out. Because the next thing I knew, it was morning. The sun was up. Birds were chirping. My phone buzzed. 6:47 a.m. I sat up, gasping for air. My bedroom door was wide open. My apartment was silent. Normal. No sign that anything had happened. But when I checked the front door, It was still locked, deadbolt still in place. And yet, on the floor, right outside my door, was a single piece of paper. No writing, no markings. Just folded neatly, waiting for me to pick it up. I don't want to know what it says. I haven't touched it. I haven't told anyone. I just don't want to believe it's real. But last night, at exactly 3:33 a.m., the knocking started again. 3 slow, heavy knocks. I never believed in childhood fears. Monsters under the bed, shadows in the closet. Just tricks of the imagination. At least, that's what I used to think. Until last night. Now, I don't think I'm safe anymore. It started a few nights ago. I just moved into a new apartment. A small one-bedroom in an old building downtown. The place was nothing special. Just something cheap and convenient. The first night, I was exhausted from unpacking. I collapsed into bed without giving the place much thought. That's when I heard it. A soft scratching coming from inside my closet. Not loud, just the faintest, almost deliberate sound, like fingernails dragging against wood. I sat up, listening. It stopped. I shook my head, laughing nervously. Old building, I muttered. Probably mice. But something about it made my skin crawl. Still, I forced myself to lie back down. Told myself I was imagining things. But then, it whispered my name. I don't know how I fell asleep, but I did. The next morning, I tried to forget about it. That night, though, the scratching came back. Louder. This time, I didn't ignore it. I turned on my bedside lamp, heart pounding, and stared at the closet door. It was shut, but something was off. The doorknob was turned slightly, like it had been moved from the other side. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to get up. My feet felt heavy as I approached the door. I reached out, hesitated, then yanked it open. Nothing. Just my clothes, some boxes. But the air inside was cold. Stale. Like the inside of an old house that hasn't been opened in years. I let out a shaky breath and shut the door. But as I turned back toward my bed, I heard it. A click. I spun around. The closet door was slightly open, and something was breathing inside. I didn't sleep that night. By morning, I convinced myself it was all in my head. Maybe the door didn't latch properly. Maybe I left it open without realizing. But that night, I made sure. Before bed, I locked the closet door. I even put a chair in front of it. That would have been the end of it. But at exactly 3:33 a.m., I woke up to a sound that made my blood run cold. Knocking. From inside the closet. Slow. Deliberate. 3 knocks. I pulled the blanket over my head, heart pounding. My phone was on my nightstand. I reached for it, hands shaking, and checked the time. 3:33 a.m. I turned my head back toward the closet. The door was wide open, and standing just inside the darkness was me. I can't explain it. It was me. Same face, same pajamas, same terrified expression. But the eyes were all wrong, too dark, too empty. And then it smiled. I couldn't move, I couldn't even breathe. It took a step forward, closer. Then it whispered, "You let me in." I don't remember anything after that. I woke up to sunlight streaming through my window. My phone was on the floor. My closet door was shut. I ran. I didn't pack. I didn't grab anything. I just left. I don't care about the deposit. I don't care about the lease. I just needed to get out. But here's the thing. When I checked my phone, there was one new notification. A text from an unknown number. "Why won't you open?" My breath caught in my throat. My vision blurred. That's when I realized I had seen that message before. Someone else had gotten it, and they let it in. I don't know who or what it is, but I think it moves from person to person, apartment to apartment. And I think it found me through someone else. Because when I checked my lease paperwork before running out the door, I saw something that made my stomach drop. The previous tenant's name. It was the same name from the last horror story I read, and now it's mine. Do you ever wonder why some doors should never be opened? Why some knocks should never be answered? Why do some shadows seem just a little too dark? You don't. Not yet. But you will. I don't remember the first time I existed. I don't remember if I was ever human. But I do remember the first time I was let in. It was a long time ago. Before electricity. Before doors had locks. A man sat alone in his candlelit home, trembling as the wind howled outside. He had been warned, never open the door after midnight, but fear makes people weak, and when the knocking came, knock, knock, knock. He couldn't help himself. Who's there? He spoke. That was his mistake. Because once you acknowledge me, I am already inside. They were so simple back then, so naive. A whisper outside their window, a shadow moving in the corner, a soft, familiar voice calling their name. I watched them shudder in fear, watched them convince themselves they were imagining things. But when they turned off their lamps, when they laid their heads down to sleep, that's when I crept closer. That's when I whispered from the dark, "Let me in." And they always did. They begged for their loved ones, called out to mothers, brothers, and children, pleading for them to help. But I don't take their families. I become their families, their mothers, their brothers, their children. They were never real after that. Only me. The modern world didn't stop me. Time passed. Locks were invented. People learned to fear the dark. They stopped answering strange knocks at night. They stopped opening doors to unknown voices. So, I adapted. I learned the flickering glow of television screens, the hum of cell phones, the way people stared at their reflections, never realizing that I could stare back. I changed the rules. I found new ways in, and they never even saw me coming. You know their stories, don't you? I remember them well. The boy on the empty night bus, he thought he was alone, until the driver warned him, "Don't look at the last passenger." But he did, and the last thing he saw was my smile. The girl who found the hidden door in her apartment. It wasn't supposed to be there. She wasn't supposed to open it. But curiosity is louder than fear. So she went inside. And now, she's part of the whispers. The man who stared too long into his own reflection. Who thought mirrors only showed the truth. He didn't notice at first. The slight delay. The too wide grin. The way his reflection kept watching long after he turned away. By the time he did, he wasn't the one on the outside anymore, and the one who downloaded the app. The one who thought it was just a glitch, just a corrupted file. It wasn't. He thought he could delete it. He thought he could ignore the messages, until the camera turned on by itself, and the last thing it recorded was something standing behind him. And then, there's me, the one behind the door. The one who knocks, the one who whispers, "You let me in." And when the door opens, I become you. And now, it's you. You shouldn't have listened to this story. You shouldn't have stayed until the end, because now I know who you are. I know what you fear. and when the night is quiet, when your phone screen flickers, when you hear a knock at 3:33 a.m., you'll know it's me. And when you whisper, "Who's there?" you'll hear the answer. You already know.